Well, welcome back. Welcome back, horror fans. It is Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it is time for another episode of the Week in Horror podcast, the only podcast that wants you to come play with us forever. Thank you for joining our live show, and for all of our podcast listeners, be sure to check us out so you too can interact directly with the show. This week, we are covering select films released in horror history, July 11th through July 17th. Thank you all so much for joining us. I am JL, and with me tonight are Eugene and Johnny O.
What's up, everybody?
There he goes.
Oh, it's been a minute since I did it, and I've been watching everybody else do the intros, and now I'm kind of like, now I have to do it myself. Oh, I need to be on top of it. Oh, shit. So
that's another one of those that's what she said jokes.
As the actor said to the bishop. Giggity. All right. So looks like we got I see we have several people watching, but I see Charlie Welch in the live chat and says, Charlie Welch, the only man you don't make a bet with on the internet, and one of our big supporters and followers. I do appreciate you being here. Let me see here. Says first trivia answer is Telly Savalas. Telly Savalas, Kojak. Well, we shall see when we get to the trivia question. Tony Regime. Tony Regime is also in the house. Good to see you, Tony. And for anybody here, I think we'll be able to stream something in the Discord, stream a horror movie in the Discord. There's a couple things that are new that I have access to that I'd like to show. So I think we'll be able to stream something a little bit later on. So we'll see about that. I'll make an announcement in the Discord channel and the Week in Horror Discord a little bit after. Tony Regime also has a guest for the trivia is Robert Englund. Oh, specifically, Robert Englund was in V is his answer.
Very specific.
True.
Very specific. Mad Mark is in the house. Awesome. Good to see you, Mad Mark. All right. Well, this is actually good because we have a few things that we wanted to chat about. Before we dive in, yes, we do. There's a few things.
Nothing new.
Nothing. That's it. Nothing's going on.
we just wanted to go live, just say, hey guys, and then we're gonna go bye now.
And roll credits.
Yep.
Mr. Malort is in the house. Good to see you, Mr. Malort. Another one of our amazing patrons. Up there with Charlie Welch and Sir Chasm. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. Man, awesome people in the chat tonight. All right, so let's kick this bad boy off. There's a couple things we wanted to mention that kind of came down the pipe. First and foremost, the big announcement is that we got details on when our festival is, when the Rack Focus Festival for our little film is going to be premiering. Eugene, would you like to say more about that?
Our little film? Come on.
It is. It's
a little film.
It's just a little.
Yeah. It'll prick you a little bit. That's about it.
He's just a little guy.
He's a wee little guy over there.
So, we actually got the screening date, which is going to be July 18th at 1 p.m. on Studio Movie Grill at Spring Valley. So if you happen to be in the Dallas DFW area, come check it out. Tickets are $10 if you order ahead of time, $15 at the door, and you'll get a chance to see Nail Gun along with 13 other films. I've seen clips and stuff like that from other films, and some of them look really good. On top of that, you get a chance to meet some of the cast members and crew members and stuff like that. And, we'll be there, so you can actually go and meet us in person if you want. But July 18th at Studio Movie Grill, 1 p.m. and it's a Studio Movie Grill on Spring Valley and 75. If you know where that is.
What's the website that they can get information at?
They can get information at I've been posting it all day.
Week in Horror on Facebook. You can get all the information. You get all the information on the Week in Horror Facebook page or the Instagram, or so do that.
Yeah, it'll be posted on there, so you can come check it out. We've already showcased a clip from it a couple episodes ago, and maybe soon we'll be able to showcase that clip again, just in case for people who missed it.
Actually, I just pulled the website. I just pulled the website. What?
Nothing.
I was pulling the damn link so that where people could buy tickets if they wanted to buy tickets. So I was putting the link up to where you could get that in the live chat. So you're welcome.
It's amazing that you were doing that and missing out on that subtlety that Eugene was just laying at your feet.
So no, I know we didn't plan on showing it for this episode, but soon or shortly we'll re-show the clip so that way people can come and check that out.
Yep,
absolutely. Oh, dang, it's unfortunate. Yes, we do have some new patrons, and those patrons do need wrenches for the YouTube channel. Unfortunately, we're on StreamYard, and I can't give wrenches via StreamYard. I have to be on the YouTube channel to do that.
So just log into the YouTube channel and do that.
So I'll do that. God, man. Look,
I'm gonna excuses.
I'm going to need you to get all the way up off my back about this, okay? Oh, he doesn't watch Screen. What was it? The pitch movies, movie pitches. You don't watch that? It's okay. It's a YouTube channel. Where guy gives
I've seen some. I know what you're talking about. I've seen some.
Look, I'm going to need you to get all the way up off of my back about that. It's like that's one shirt that I want to get. Oh, it's not going to be difficult at all. Or was it? It's not. It's like that sounds like it's going to be really hard. Actually, it's going to be super easy. Barely an inconvenience. All right. Who else we got here? We've got Jinju is in the house. Good to see you, Jinju. All right. So after that, we wanted to make the big rack focus announcement, and also want to let you know that anybody, all of our patrons, if you weren't aware, but we did send it out in the monthly message, the monthly heads up, that we put up a host, I think 30 behind the scenes images from the production of the Nail Gun short. That you did the whole thing. So you can see a whole bunch of cool stuff. Part of the production, part of the special effects, a lot of stuff, just behind the scenes things. So you can see the what was going on back there. That's all up and accessible to our patrons. So if you're not a patron, you could become a patron for at minimum $1 a month, and check that cool stuff out. But all of our patrons have access to those. Something cool for our patrons we wanted to put up, and this was kind of the big. That was just kind of like in-house stuff, but this is the big stuff. So I got word, obviously word is spread on the wire a bit that Blumhouse, obviously getting very, very big, and is behind, the Halloween, not the Halloween sequel that came out in 2018, and of course the new trilogy that's coming out. But they're getting into serious business with Stephen King, and that a Firestarter remake and a Christine remake are being made by Blumhouse, executive produced by Stephen King, all this stuff in it. So that's Firestarter, and there's some information about Firestarter that I'm a little kind of iffy about. I mean, Zac Efron was announced as the dad.
I mean, he's not a terrible actor. I just don't see him as a father yet.
I don't think he's old enough. He's not bad because he was great as Ted Bundy, but
that's kind of. I'm not sure that's a compliment.
You were great. You were great playing the soulless serial killer. You were fantastic, man. Award winning.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's almost like you disappeared into the role.
It's almost like you really were. Oh shit!
All along.
So what do you guys think? Firestarter remake? Because the original one was plagued by some problems. Although I enjoyed it, I liked it. I thought Drew Barrymore is amazing, especially at that age. I thought everybody did a good job, but there were lots of problems. But people complained about the pace, they complained about the editing, complained about some of the acting that it was very unbalanced, and of course casting George C. Scott as a Native American. A lot of people really pissed off about that.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Remake, Blumhouse remake of Firestarter? I think it has a shot.
Out of the two that were announced, I think that's the one that has the most potential to actually do better than the first. But
agreed.
Christine, no, don't do.
You don't think?
Wow, no.
I think Christine is perfect. The Carpenter one is perfect the way it is.
It doesn't need to be remade.
It doesn't, because they're gonna CGI shit the car.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
You know it's gonna happen. We already know. I haven't seen a single image from it, and I can tell you that car is going to be CG.
Yeah,
you never know. Blumhouse may go the Carpenter route. They may want to do, get a whole bunch of actual Furies, just like Carpenter did. I think Carpenter had like 12 Plymouth Furies that they used for the movie, and they ended up totaling like three or four of them.
I thought all but 3 or 4 of them were total.
Was it all but 3 or 4 of them were total?
That was all but like 3 or 4. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know, but
at the same time, it's then why we already got an actual practical like Christine in existence. Yeah. Just watch that one.
Right.
The one thing that I fear is that I think the one thing that made the Carpenter film great, what I really loved about it is because when you compare it to the novel or to the short story, when you compare it to that, or actually it was novel, when you compare it to the novel, there was a lot more supernatural stuff that went down in the novel that is not in the movie. In the movie, it's literally just the car. That's it. Just an evil car. Very simple. John Carpenter. He streamlined it. He streamlined the storyline. Yeah.
And which made it kind of ambiguous. Like, why is the car doing this? Mm-hmm. And you think about that for half a second and then realize you just get lost in the story because it doesn't really matter. You know what
Agreed.
I mean?
Agreed. I liked it. I liked the streamlined version of it. I thought it was just like Cujo. The director of that, he streamlined that film. He took out the supernatural elements of like the monster in the closet, the supernatural, the possibility that Cujo was possessed by the ghost of the serial killer from the dark half. It's just like, no, it's just a rabid dog. Done.
Yeah, it makes it more believable too. It makes it a lot more relatable because how many of you ever seen a rabid animal before? Versus how many of you seen a fucking possessed person? Really?
So I like streamlining. I like making it easier, making it more believable. And even though Christine is a possessed car and everything that can heal itself, that is supernatural. But it's just enough. It's all we need. Just this one particular car that happened to be built bad. But in the book, there's the stuff about the previous owner, and then there's his ghost, and then the effects it has on Arnie. Arnie starts like wearing the back brace and like looking like the previous and acting like the previous owner, talking in 50s slang and blah blah blah. And there was a whole bunch of additional like exposition that you just don't need.
Yeah, you don't. You can go into that kind of detail in a book or a short story or anything like that because the books can be however long. But in terms of a movie where pacing and characterization, we view that at a different level on it. Why? Why is a car possessed? Who cares?
Yeah, right. The important part is that it is possessed.
Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I liked about 1408. I thought that the short story was decent, but the movie was better because in the short story it actually alludes to why is this room like this? What's going on? All this stuff behind it, and it's like, no, Sam, we just need Sam Jackson. It's an evil fucking room.
Yep.
I don't know what you want to fucking. What do you want me to tell you?
Right. Yeah. Right. So that whole. I like movies that do that simply because they play against people's need to know.
Yes.
Which draws you into the film. If you're watching a movie like Christine or like 1408, that they don't tell you all the reasons why. They just show you that, okay, here it is. Here it is. This is what's happening. Evil room. Why? Who gives a shit?
Who gives a shit?
What are you going to do with that information?
Like, what do you play? It's an evil fucking room. That's it.
Why does the car act the way the car acts? Okay, yeah, good. That's nice to know, but again,
and I like that. I like that the characters in Christine didn't. I mean, they recognize that Christine is bad. Christine is obviously having a negative effect on Arnie. This is there's something wrong with the car. Who gives a fuck why the car is wrong? We need to save Arnie. And the focus is on saving their friend, not on trying to, why is this supernatural thing this way? And it's like,
I think that's why I'm really not looking forward to this remake, because I have just a sneaking suspicion that they're going to try and get into some sort of exposition about what makes the car evil. I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I don't care what makes the car evil. It's not pertinent to the story. It's an evil car. That's all I need.
And Johnny, I love the point you made where it drives us because we want to know why. It doesn't have to give us the answer why, but it holds our attention because we want more information versus having like a starting backstory like Dune, David Lynch's Dune, where they explain everything for like fucking 15 minutes. And then you're just like, okay, we have everything.
Let me spoon feed you the reasons.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Yep. All right, so we're kind of a 50-50 on the Firestarter remake, and we're going to say 30-70 on Christine.
No, I'm zero. Don't
zero.
do
Yeah,
I'll do 10.
By virtue of it being Blumhouse alone, I'm gonna give it a little bit of street cred, just a little bit, because Blumhouse
by
has done.
virtue of being Blumhouse, I'm not gonna go too hard on the fact that they're making a huge fucking mistake right now.
You never know. I mean, when they announced Heath Ledger's the Joker, people flipped the fuck out. It was like, how the hell is this surfer boy going to play the clown prince of crime? And he knocked it out of the park. So
again, that's different. It wasn't like they were remaking the Jack Nicholson Joker or that Batman story. They were telling a different series of comics, right? They were telling a Dark Knight story. This here is a remake of Christine. There's no two ways they're gonna. There's no. Oh, it's not like it's a different type of character. No, it's just no.
Would we consider it a remake, or technically, because they're adapting it from the book? So the first Christine was an adaptation of the book, and then this will be another adaptation of the book, or
no? It's a remake.
Okay, yeah, I've full wholeheartedly like a remake on it. Yeah. And I think it's just why.
Just like Princess Bride, just like Labyrinth, just like Dark Crystal. These do not need to be remade.
Don't need to touch. Yeah. Best case scenario. Yeah, best case scenario, it's as good as the original. Best. And that's like lightning in a bottle.
Yep.
Best.
Lightning in a bottle. So we got three so far on the docket. So that is Christine, Firestarter, and of course Toxic Avenger. So I guess we're going to find out how Toxic Avenger turns out.
One of those could be good.
One of them could be good.
Could be good.
It could be good. Toxic Avenger, once again, is not something that needs a remake, because what made that film great was the fact that it was a cult classic. It was a cult film from the early 80s. Yeah, it was like low key. It's inspired by like the video nasties of the 70s and stuff like that, and they just threw it together. I mean, I don't want to see Toxic Avenger with a high budget.
No.
I just don't.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I'm a bit concerned. Yeah, but hey, Lloyd will write that check all the way to the bank.
Oh, I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Here's the thing. Yeah, Lloyd Kaufman deserves to have a good payday. So, I mean, he's been doing what he's done on shoestring budgets for decades, and so good for him.
Cool. Yeah. All right. See, Charlie Welch says, I get pleasure from wrenches. Rarely use them, but good to have, like a good pocket knife or a machete. You are correct. Absolutely. Sarcasm says, and then shit gets real. It always seems to get real.
Yep.
Really does. Java James, good to see you, sir. And says, yes, Firestarter. I guess we'll find out when it comes out. Bits and pieces are coming out, so we'll stay on top of it. Charlie Welch says, I'll give any of King's things a chance. Honestly, even the remakes. So, by virtue of the author, by virtue of Blumhouse, I think it stands a chance. It's theirs to screw up. It's there, literally. It's theirs to make amazing. It's theirs to mess up. It's all in their hands.
Remake bad movies from good stories.
Yes. Okay.
Remake The Lawnmower Man, except don't make it stupid.
Yeah.
Java James says High School Musical meets Stephen King. Oh, it's because the Zac Efron and Firestarter.
Oh yeah.
Java James is the special effects will make it. Yeah, it really, both of these will come down to the special effects, and we're concerned that there's going to be too much heavy reliance on CGI when it's the practical effects that made them amazing in the first place.
Yep.
Sir Kaz says Drew Barrymore saying "Don't make me angry" had more impact than anyone that ever played Bruce Banner. Yeah, for something fireballs from nothing. Yeah, absolutely. Chris Durham Music Channel, good to see you. Says possessed car, better get Mako. Jinju says creepiest part of Firestarter, John Rainbird saying he wanted to watch the eyes as he killed Charlie. Yeah, he was super fucking creepy in that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, he was. Prime Red, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Right now, we're just hashing out some stuff that came down the horror news pipeline. Remakes of Christine and Firestarter and other stuff coming out of Blumhouse. So interesting things. Sarcasm does agree with you, Johnny. He does.
Even though it's sadly, it's such a horrible thing to agree with Johnny.
Let's see. Yes, Chris Durham Music Channel, Trauma Films, Toxic Avenger. There is a remake of Toxic Avenger coming. So Charlie Welch's Princess Bride is my all-time favorite movie by far. I would accept a sequel with same cast by same makers. There was a second book, but they're too old for that story.
Some of them are more than just too old.
Yes, yeah, that's true. So
yeah,
some of them we've lost.
Princess Bride, easy top 10 film, easily.
Yes. Prime Red says you're not going to get a movie with trauma quality from Hollywood. Trauma, well, yeah, but part of Trauma's charms are the lack of quality.
I'm gonna agree.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah, bad acting.
Prime Red says if you remake a bad film, it has to be an obscure one, or no one will watch it. People will watch it. They will, regardless.
Even if it's just a hate watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fact is it's something recognizable and people have heard before. It's just automatic publicity out there.
All right. So that's the news coming down the pipe. So we'll stay on top of those. And if there's something crazy going on, we'll always, give updates as to what the heck, if we think they're going to screw them up or if we think they're going to be awesome or whatever. But the last big thing we want to do is something new that we wanted to try. So this past month saw the Bloodbath Debate, one of the cool little things we do here at Week in Horror, where we will use our horror cred to debate horror icons and who would win in a battle to the death. And this last fight was between
Man's Best Friend and Cujo.
Yes,
Eugene representing
Eugene and Alex.
Yep.
Debated this out, and it was Man's Best Friend Max 3000 from Man's Best Friend and Cujo. So the rabid, insane Saint Bernard versus the genetically engineered hybrid bioweapon. And they hammered that out. And, of course, Eugene took that. So Eugene took that win, and Johnny is stepping up to be the challenger. So Johnny's coming in. And
this is news to me.
Is it Johnny? Yeah, it's you. It's not news to you. Why do you fuck with me? Such a dick. So, man, you disrupt my train of thought. God damn it. So,
it wasn't too hard.
Something new that they wanted to do is they wanted to do the coin flip live.
We.
Okay, wanted to do the coin. Okay, we want to do the coin flip live to determine who will go first in the debate. Is it?
So
no, it's who picks what?
Who picks what?
Oh, who picks what?
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys actually want to decide. This guys. Everyone listening. This was their idea. This was not my idea.
Wow.
Okay.
Throw us under the bus.
Jackass.
Did you hear that? You hear that bus coming from down the road? Yeah.
Let's go around it.
I heard it too. Okay. So, what do you guys want to do? You guys want to flip a coin to decide who's going to represent who?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay. So this upcoming bloodbath that we will be having is humanoids from the deep versus cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. So HFTDs versus Chuds. That sounds so fucking silly. But we're going to be bloodbath debating these. So we're going to take the mutants from the underground, mutants from the water, homeless people mutated by toxic waste and shit. We're going to put them in a battle to the death, which means that whoever chooses who, they're going to have to watch their movies, bone up on the knowledge they can get, and bring it to a debate. So we're flipping a coin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I have a coin?
Well.
I do not have a coin.
What about chance time?
Son of a bitch. Eugene has a coin. Eugene did win the last one.
I have a coin.
Okay, Eugene's got a
legit coin, so I can show everybody.
Not a trick coin, not a fake coin.
Not a trick coin.
Wait, that's Two-Face. What was the other one? Wait, that's
Two-Face.
That's the heads.
And tails.
Okay. Looks like it's one of those ones with the birds on the back of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's from Nebraska.
Nebraska's. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, Sarcasm is already calling that Chuds is going to win this one. Awesome. Okay, so
heads.
So, Johnny calls heads. Eugene, take it away. Take it away. Flip the coin.
Heads.
Eugene, Johnny's calling heads.
Johnny's calling heads. All right.
Yes.
It is tails.
You cheated.
Flipped it right in front of you.
All right, so that means Eugene, you get pick. So who are you taking? Sarcasm says Chuds. Humanoids from the Deep are pretty nasty, so I think this one is going to be kind of close. But that's just me.
A tough one. Yeah, this will be a tough one.
I'm actually going to go Humanoids from the Deep.
Wow.
Eugene is taking Humanoids from the Deep, and Johnny is taking Chuds. And that's actually kind of cool because Eugene's really busy, so he only has one movie to watch, unless you want to watch the Roger Corman remake that aired on Showtime. But you technically have only got one movie to watch, whereas Johnny has two.
That's why you picked it, because you don't have time to watch two.
Because I have to watch them all because I got to decide how you're gonna argue it.
Good point. So you each have 3 movies to watch.
Yeah. Good job. Yay.
This is going to be fun. So yes, our next Bloodbath Debate, which we will be recording this month, is Humanoids from the Deep versus Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers. God, I love that name as a monster. Did you know John Goodman was in the original film? He played a cop in the diner. His scene was literally 5 seconds. But John Goodman was in the scene. I think the other actor next to him was also known, but I remember John Goodman being in that. So which is pretty cool. All right, let me see. Here we go again. NA is in the house. Another one of our amazing patrons. Good to see you, NA. Mr. Blort says Humanoids is great. Yes, Humanoids was great. Plus they got frisky with the ladies. Sir Kaz says, damn it, now I'm gonna have to agree with Johnny again. LOL. Unfortunately. And let's see.
Oh, in Prime Red about Pixels, I said remake bad movies from good stories, not bad movies from bad movies.
The only thing
what's wrong with Pixels?
The only thing good about Pixels was Peter Dinklage riffing off of Billy Mitchell, riffing on that dickhead Billy Mitchell, because that dude is a douche, and Peter Dinklage was playing a parody of him. And I thought that was absolutely perfect.
I'm the fire blaster.
Oh, and the Jord is in the house. And the Jord said, hey, I'm only 30 minutes late, so I'm not really late by Jord standards. No, by Jord standards, you're fucking early. So what a pleasure it is. But good to see you, sir. Good to see you.
Call it fashionably late.
Yes, fashionably late.
Yep.
All right. Well, I guess we've done the coin toss and we've talked about this stuff. So I guess it's time to do what we do. And then just talk about fucking horror movies. So, Eugene, what do we have up first?
I like to use the term movie very loosely to describe this one. I mean, this technically, by definition, qualifies as a movie. Or something.
It's a movie.
Does it?
He's stretching it. Yeah.
Yep.
So the first one we have is After Sundown, which was released July 11th, 2006. Directed by Christopher.
Is that how bad this movie was?
That's how bad this movie is. This movie is so bad that it killed Eugene's feed.
Oh, God. I think we legit lost him.
We did.
His internet just fucking died.
Yeah. I will find out what happens because I'm going to go and do Eugene's part here. I'm afraid.
Do you want to go and take over for him?
All right. So Eugene was, as he was saying, Eugene is After Sundown is a 2006 American horror Western film directed by Christopher Abram and Michael W. Brown, written by Abram and starring Susanna Gibb, Reese Rios, Natalie Jones, and co-directors Brown and Abram. This is it's like a vampire gunslinger zombie type thing. I don't know if this movie really knows what it wants to be.
I was looking into it, and given how many genres are in this, and I found Circaz's God Bless Texas, such an amazing infrastructure.
Yeah.
Chris Durham says, "What I do?" He said my name, and he evaporated. Yes. The big thing about this movie, and I found out the reason I wanted to talk about it is because it allows us to dive into a subgenre that we have not talked about yet on this show. In the almost 2 years we've talked about, we have never touched into Weird West, which is a subgenre that includes horror. And there's Eugene. He's back.
He's coming back. Don't worry, Eugene. I got your intro.
Sort of back. I added him in.
All right.
I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, but the weird Shinju says now we know the real reason jail.
I was thinking the same thing.
I got the fuck out of Dodge.
You know what? They're talking about rolling blackouts during the summertime. Fuck this shit.
That's some bullshit.
Yep.
So I wanted to, because this was really, really cool, because yes, you are correct. It is definitely a Western. The lead character is a vampire and a gunslinger in this, and he turns people into zombies and shit. This definitely in my mind falls into the Weird West category, which is a subgenre of horror, or actually a subgenre of film that we never really got to touch on. So it combines elements, typically it's Weird West. So it combines elements of the Western with some other genre, usually horror, occult, fantasy, or science fiction.
Right.
So examples of like Deadland, The Wild Wild West, Jonah Hex, Brave Star, Goodbye Family,
Aliens Cowboys.
Westworld, Cowboys versus Aliens, Cowboys and Aliens, Cowboys and Dinosaurs. These are films that would fall into the Weird West subgenre. And I thought that was really neat because we never really got to talk about that.
Well, you could say that we never got to talk about that, or we chose not to include that type of silliness.
We haven't gotten the opportunity to jump into it.
That's true. That's true.
So I would say because the films we've talked about have been topical at the time, and we wanted to touch on major things. But broaching different subgenres, because this was a subgenre that really came around in the 70s and was really, really big then. If anybody's parents out there, if anybody remembers watching Wild Wild West, which was a combination of kind of like Western and steampunk, or definitely Western and sci-fi. So there was interesting stuff that was around there, and I liked it because I think it was the first attempt at really bridging the gap between different audiences and trying to bring them into the Western, because the Western was really, really popular.
It's a weird crossover, because people who are, I just wouldn't think that, like, my father was big into Westerns. I just don't see him as being a Western horror guy or a Western, even because he even likes science fiction. I just see mixing the two for him. It's like, this is stupid.
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't. I actually dug it because it to me it seemed kind of innovative in that respect, and I like that it opened up new avenues of storytelling. Because Cowboys and Aliens, you just don't expect that. It's kind of like, wow, okay, so we got outlaws, we got gold stealing, and we have guys who run towns with iron fists like Harrison Ford, and then all of a sudden aliens come in.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty awesome. So,
the thing about Western is that it seems like such a weird mix, but if you think about it, like Western horror, why not? Why wouldn't that be a thing to work? Well, we didn't have scary stories in the West,
right?
You would think there'd be a lot of material for, because especially with the frontier, the Western frontier and frontiersman, how frightening everything was, and dealing with the elements and dealing with the supernatural of the natives, all that stuff. Yeah, I know. I gotta. Speaking of supernaturals. Say hi, and then you gotta go bye-bye. Say hi.
Hi.
All right.
She's so cute. Jinju mentioned Bone Tomahawk, which is one with Kurt Russell, which was a really, really good one. Because that was Western combined with cannibal horror, which I thought was kind of neat. That one, so it was actually a way better film than I thought it would be. Let's see, Tony Dream says, apparently a great uncle of mine was a producer or director of B-movie Westerns in the early days of cinema. That's fucking cool.
That's cool, yeah.
That's really cool. Thank you. Oh, thank you all for all the Fs, everybody. Thank you. I'm back.
Yes. Dark Tower. Yes. Sarcasm is correct. Dark Tower would actually, the book series would definitely count as Weird West because it had the Western elements, obviously Roland the Gunslinger, and the big focus on the gun, a big focus on his guns, the care of his guns, and the mentality of the West, basically all of Gilead. Was Gilead or Gilead? I never remember how to pronounce that correctly, but where Roland came from, Roland Deschain, and the very nature of what his character was, and how that was pretty much what the kingdom was founded on. And then, of course, all the elements, the horror elements, the sci-fi elements, the idea of crossing dimensions, stuff like this, which is really, really cool. And yeah, so that definitely falls into the Weird West category. And I know that Eugene, you had, I mean, you knew something or somebody about where because After Sundown was shot in Texas.
We lost him again. I noticed he's frozen yet again.
I thought he was just looking at me like, stop talking.
He was doing the yeah, that look right there is like fucking JL.
Stop talking.
Yeah.
But yeah, he would Eugene. Are you back?
I'm trying.
I mentioned that you were familiar with some of the behind the scenes stuff with After Sundown.
No, he's not.
Oh,
look at him.
So
there he goes. That was a good one. I thought you really were frozen there for a second.
Don't fuck with me.
Yeah, so with After Sundown was actually filmed in Dallas. So After Sundown was actually filmed in Dallas.
Fucking hate you.
And it was filmed in Dallas, and the scene that they did in the morgue in terms of moments where like pulling the stake out and doing the autopsies and stuff like that were actually filmed in a friend of mine's funeral home. Her family owns a home, and the production came in and they filmed it. And they were actually really excited, like, we're having a big film come in. And they were really excited, and they even let them use the funeral home. I think it was for free. And then they saw the movie afterwards, and they're like, I can't believe it.
That was a shame. Yeah, because I imagine on paper this movie worked really, really well. I imagine it did. It was a cool. I think on paper it was a cool idea, but no, the execution of this thing was just not great. This, in my opinion, they really, because this one came out 2006.
Yeah.
This one really swung for, from dusk till dawn. The strength of the first movie, the strength of Rodriguez's first film, was obviously the acting in it was fantastic. The number of horror icons that were in it, the fact it was very fucking. The vampires were cool.
I didn't know there were horror icons in El Mariachi.
And From Dusk Till Dawn.
You said Robert Rodriguez's first film.
The first From Dusk Till Dawn, because it's a part of a franchise. There's multiples.
Jesus Christ. Just continue.
I know what you're trying to do. I'm not going to let you trap me.
I've already trapped you. I've already trapped you.
Anywho, hey, Strike the Legend, good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Oh, anyway, like I was saying, the first From Dusk Till Dawn by Robert Rodriguez, you fucking prick, obviously had the star power. The horror icons that were in it. The vampires were cool. Salma Hayek was hot as shit. Great action, good stuff. It was a lot of fun.
Even the band was cool.
The band was super cool.
They were fun.
And that spawned multiple sequels. I believe it spawned 2 more sequels. So From Dusk Till Dawn 2 and 3, one of them had Robert Patrick in it because he was coming off of Terminator 2 and just, looking like a badass. So, yeah, that was the big issue, though. And I felt that this one, that After Sundown, was really trying to go for that Robert Rodriguez feel. I get that. Robert Rodriguez is based out of Austin, Texas. His Troublemaker Studios is based out of South Texas. I get that. He's a big influence in Texas cinema. So maybe they were shooting for that, but holy shit. You talk about being too drunk to hit the barn.
The thing is it wasn't even close, because if you look at Dusk Till Dawn has the feel of a studio. It's technically sound just throughout. This film, it's bad cinematography, bad coloring, bad acting, bad editing. It was almost like they bit off more than they could chew.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. And he's just driving that stake in there.
And then that's what ended up happening, because the movie is just poor. Like, The Room by Tommy Wiseau is shot better than this film.
Oof, that's rough.
When I saw this, I thought, because if you sit there, if you think about it,
because if you think about it, the movie is just, it's bad cinematography, bad coloring, bad editing. It was almost like they bit off more than they could chew.
There was a delay there, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there was.
Eugene, I'm gonna say 1, 2, and then you say 3. Okay, 1, 2,
3.
Jesus Christ!
Wow, Johnny, say 3. 1, 2,
3.
Yeah, Eugene, you got a mad delay.
Yeah, a little bit of a lag. So I'll try not to talk over you. I don't want you to go Darth Dawkins on me.
Yeah. Sorry.
When I saw this, I immediately thought of like if this were like amateur hour, this is good for amateur hour. I immediately thought, what was that stupid Zombie Strippers? When I saw this.
But at least Zombie Strippers didn't take itself too seriously. This one was trying to seriously be something.
Yeah. You know, the funny thing is there's a good story in there. You know, having the vampire gunslinger who brings zombies, you know, who brings zombie horror. There's a good story there. That's a good horror story, especially Western horror combination. I think there's a lot to be done. A lot could have been done differently in there to make this movie at least a watchable film, as opposed to the garbage pail that it is.
Agreed. I think the best thing way to describe it is if you got a decent script and you have a decent story. It's like, okay, cool. Vampire gunslinger who's been basically in hiding and living on the outskirts of whatever is finally brought kind of like back into town when the love of his life, who was staked and killed, has the stake removed from her chest and she comes back to life, as vampires sometimes do. And so then realizing, detecting that she is alive, so I'm going to go and get her. And then, everyone he bites turns into zombies, and that could be something solid. Obviously, I think they had a really solid idea and it was rushed to production. They pretty much jumped in there and said, let's just start going and we'll figure it out as we go along. And this is what happens when you don't have, because something like this needs real planning. You've got to plan your monsters out. You've got to plan your action shots out to make them look solid, because you're drawing off multiple genres. So there are tropes that you have to ensure you nail, because just because you nail the horror tropes, those tropes don't play with Westerns. The timing is different. The editing is different. The sound and the coloring is different. You want to evoke particular things, and you've got to knock it out of the park, which is why I think Weird West worked really well in black and white. Because the older stuff, and of course, obviously works well in literature because you can just read about these things and put them together in your mind. But with television, it worked really good because when this came up, things were being shown in black and white. You don't have to be concerned about these things. But now we have, with the Clint Eastwood films and, with Josie Wales and The Man with No Name. And then, of course, Trinity and all the Westerns that come out when they're in color. We have very, very specific tones that are used for this to convey where they are. Are they in the United States? Are they in Mexico? Is it rural? Is it just outside of a town? You've got specific yellows, specific blues, specific blacks that you have to utilize to convey certain things. Not to mention, the pacing is a little bit slower. You're conveying the West, which was a slower time. People either walked or went by horse. You waited for your mail. It was always kind of like, and that drawn out pace works really well, especially when you're doing gunfights. It's like, are we doing, when you're doing a draw? Right. And I think the last one I saw did it really well was Open Range with Costner and Duvall. They handled it really well.
But that's where we get into the mixing of it. That was a straight Western.
Yes.
And that's where, for me, because of the stylistic differences between horror and Western, you almost have to decide which one you want to be first. Do you want to be a horror film first, or do you want to be a Western first? And it seems like they didn't decide definitively that they wanted to be one or the other first. They were trying to be both equally, and it just failed.
Agreed. They tried it was just way too... Effectively, for Weird West, you're a Western first.
You
first
should
and
be.
Foremost, you're a Western. And then you add in elements of the other things, which is why I love Cowboys, as goofy as it is, Cowboys and Aliens was so good because it focused on the relationship. You focused on Daniel Craig, the fact that he was an outlaw. He ran with an outlaw gang. Harrison Ford was kind of like the guy who owned this town. He stole from Harrison Ford. We have just classic Wild West shenanigans going on. Daniel Craig is just the badass. And then all of a sudden, aliens, which makes it fun because now it's a bunch of cowboys. We're a bunch of fucking cowboys shit. And there's fucking aliens. So.
Yeah. Let's pause 10 seconds to get Eugene in.
Okay. Hopefully my internet will hold long enough to make a point.
And he got it.
But you're right. It's hard blending the two genres because they both have such opposite points. Because Western, the time period itself and the landscape plays just as important part as the characterization, whereas sometimes in horror movies that doesn't play a part. You have to show these open ranges, these wide shots, this huge scope that goes into it because you have to set that time period in it. And this film, it didn't do it because, first of all, it just wasn't shot well at all. And it's hard to do that when your film primarily takes place at night. So you're just you can't set up the camera well anyway. You're filming at night, so you're staring more at a black emptiness than you would like even a nice dark sunset or a nice landscape shot between it. And it feels like a college film from like mid to upper level college students. Like if they just somehow got money for a feature and they're juniors in film school and they shot it. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. Yeah, very amateur. Yeah, very amateur in that respect. And this is what we talk about. We talk about this many times. It's all about planning your movie up.
Yeah,
having everything nailed down. Because you know how much money you can spend. So that's a big thing. You have your budgetary restriction. Then you find out where you can work within that budget. You find what you say. This is what we need. How can we do this? How can we stretch this? Or how can we fashion this so we can save as much money as possible? So this is where the planning. This is all pre-production. You don't put up a camera or set a stage until you know every fucking detail that's going to go down on that stage. That's just the way it goes. Sure, there's some directors out there who got very, very lucky. They picked up a fucking camera, they went out there and they just shot and they managed to land it. Mm-hmm. Maybe with a little bit of preparation. I know who I'm going to show. I know who my actors are. Let's just go out and fucking do it. But that's lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, but even still, I would argue that those directors have their shots in their head. They know what they're looking for. You know what I mean? So it's not just like, hey, camera, tripod, actor, go. They've got a vision that they're trying to get. They may just not have planned it out more in detail as some of the other ones would.
And even if this movie had been horror first, then with Western elements, that would have worked. I've seen that. There was another movie called Skinwalkers that was like that. That was essentially a werewolf Western film. And I rather enjoyed that. It was silly, but hey, at least that's the focus of it. The director knew what he wanted. The script knew what it was. The actors were on board. And that's the important thing, because if everybody has a different view of what's going on in your film or what the focus is, that's going to come through on camera. And then of course your audience is going to see it as well. So they're like, this movie doesn't know what it wants to be. And if the movie doesn't know what it wants to be, how the hell are we supposed to know? So
yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, well, let's put this one. Oh, I'm sorry, Eugene, go ahead.
Oh, I would like, so if the filmmakers of After Sundown ever see this, please apologize to the Williams Funeral Home in Garland, Texas, where you filmed that, so that other people like myself can film in their funeral home.
Oh yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, that's not great. But hey,
you gotta ruin it for everybody else.
As rough as we go on these sometimes, we do applaud you guys, the filmmakers of After Sundown. We applaud you. You got it in the can. That's something you can hold. Yeah, that's a feather in your cap. You got it done. You got it edited. You got it in the can. You got it released. There's a fucking Wikipedia page for it, man. So there you go. The movie is out there. For better or for worse, you made a movie, and that's a fucking accomplishment. So way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I made a duty this morning. Does that count?
Oh, and Surf is in the house. It says, "Doe, I'm late." Now you really didn't miss much. So good to see you, Surf.
We'll give Eugene 10 seconds to ask the question.
Thank you very much. And so I actually like to ask the audience, what is your favorite Weird West film? We've talked about a couple of them already, things like Dusk Till Dawn and Skinwalkers, and there are obviously other ones out there too. But what is your favorite Weird West film?
Let us know in the comments or at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Let us know in the comments below or at weekin. I was fucking with you on that last one.
But yes, because Alex loves reading your
emails at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Yep.
Wickedy, and the George said Wickedy Wow Wow West. No. I wonder if Eugene needs to reset his stuff, because this delay is Angela's gonna be so pissed when she goes to edit this together for Sunday.
What movie did Will Smith turn down to go do Wild West? There was a big one.
The Matrix?
He turned down The Matrix.
Yeah.
That
was fast. That was fast, Eugene. Are you a little caught up now? Nope.
Oh, maybe. Oh.
No, you're not.
Let's try this again. 1, 2,
3.
Still got a good 5-second delay.
Wow. All right. Tony Regime brings up Pale Rider.
I'm going to reset my system, and I will be right back.
Okay. Cool. Tony Regime says Pale Rider, The Beguiled, Blood Rain 2. Yes,
fail.
Yes, Prime Red, we're aware. Fail. It's it's the internet, man. We can not control of that. Mad Mark asks, would Get Mean work?
I mean, let me remind myself, just because.
I wonder if what was that Bruce Willis one? Last Man Standing?
Is that the one where
he played the guy, the kind of gangster goes into town, and it's like two rival gangs are like warring over the town, and he goes and starts playing both. It was literally a Western gangster retelling of Yojimbo.
I don't know, maybe Back to the Future 3.
Back to the Future 3 is definitely yes, sir. If you are correct, yes. Demon Knight with Billy Zane.
Yep.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. All right. So since Eugene is resetting and there's no delay now, Johnny, you're up next. Look at that.
Look at that.
I gave you your favorite kind of movie.
J.L. Warren said, "Hey, Johnny, I want you to talk about your most favorite subgenre of horror of all time, ever." Yay.
I knew you'd fucking love this one. Dude, this one's not a bad movie.
It's not VHS 2, the sequel to VHS, is a 2013 horror anthology film produced by Bloody Disgusting. Let's see here. It's 5 found footage pieces of films put together. I don't like found footage. That's probably that's the reason why I don't like this movie. But I think we have a different group of directors. There was Jason Eisner, Gareth Evans, Timo Tjahouhanto. I don't know how the fuck to say that name. I apologize that I just completely butchered your name. Edward Sanchez and Greg Hale. Let's see here. It's starring a whole mess of people, because again, it's a bunch of different. It's an anthology. So basically, what we're taking a look at 5 different. Is it 5 or is it 4?
5.
Because it's the overall story arc, and then the 4.
And then the 4 on the inside. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't remember. Yeah. A bunch of different. So these people come across this. What is it? This person's private investigation of different films that they're supposed to watch in a certain order, and it's a bunch of Blair Witch projects all smashed into one. And that's all I have to say about this piece of junk. I will have to say that for a found footage film, they didn't seem to rely too much on the shaky camera footage. It was definitely there because it was found footage, but it wasn't that way to, it didn't seem to be too much of a means to tell the story. One thing I don't like about this type of film, about found footage, is that there's the amount of jump scares that they try to put in to try and scare people. I'm like, come on, man.
I dug these. It's not because I mean, I've got kind of a love for found footage. I dig it in the respect because even watching, I developed my love for it when I first saw Blair Witch in the theaters, and it was kind of like, oh wow, it's 1999. I was working in a movie theater, hadn't seen anything like that before, and then all of a sudden this came out. I was like, oh wow, Blair Witch, and it just kind of blew my mind. It was creepy and scary. Yeah. Realized, holy shit, it was only shot for $60,000, and then it was kind of like that's why I started thinking maybe I could be a filmmaker because I'd wanted to be one, and ever since 2001: A Space Odyssey. I like found footage because it does have that kind of feel to it, and the big thing about VHS, what I really liked about the franchise in and of itself, was that it kind of revitalized film anthologies, because film anthologies are very, very specific. One, they're difficult to do and to do well, because you have to have there's often a framing narrative around the short stories that you're telling, and the framing narrative can actually make or break your movie, because the framing narrative is what you are starting with, it's what you return to in between the stories, and it's what you conclude with. So even though you have stories in the middle of it, you could remember those, you're always going back to the framing narrative. So that framing narrative is very, very important. So you don't want it to overtake your stories. You want the stories to be the most important thing. I like VHS because it always, the framing narratives of the VHS films were always more subdued. So they were easy to slip into, like very simple. This was a couple of private investigators investigating the disappearance of this woman's son. They go in. There's a whole bunch of TVs showing white noise, and then a bunch of videotapes with instructions to watch them in order. And then so they pop. He's like, "What the hell is going on here? Let's watch the videotapes." They pop the videotape in, and we get our first story. I like that. That's easy. It's simple to follow, and it doesn't overshadow what we're seeing. So the stories themselves, the ride in the park, the clinical trials, all those like that, those stick with me more than the framing narrative did. It just makes it easy to understand. VHS did that well, and they showed that film anthologies are not dead, because they were big in the 70s and the 80s and the early 90s, but they kind of petered out. People didn't want them.
We got a couple of good ones. We had Trick or Treat came out, what was that, 2007, 2006, something like that. I had another one. Of course, there was VHS.
Yeah. I can think of Tales. In the past 10 years, other than VHS, so this is going back to 2021. This is 2011. Let's go back to 2010. The past 11 years, I could think of maybe 3. Tales from Halloween, Christmas Horror Story, and don't
forget about Tales from the Hood 2 and 3.
Well, Tales from the Hood 3, I think, but
and
2. I thought 2 came up before.
Was it? I thought it was 2011. I could be wrong.
Yeah. But on anthologies, like legit, the found footage that's a dime a dollar or a dime a dozen.
Tales from the Hood 2 was 2018.
Was it 2018?
Yeah.
Holy shit! Was it that long in between the first one and the second one?
It was.
Because Clarence B. Williams III was the host of that one. Keith David was the host of the second one.
Right.
Yeah. So, Shinju said, I thought it was thieves paid to retrieve the one VHS tape. Pretty sure that's viral. I think that's VHS viral. Yeah. So, found footage films, they're a dime a dozen. You could throw a rock and hit a found footage film. They're really, really, and they often suck. Just because throw a camcorder in somebody's hands and go and shoot a movie doesn't always work out as well as you think. But in this particular one, a found footage, that's great. It's fine. Somebody take it. But the anthology is really, really cool. All the VHS films had that nice little throwback to movies like Dead Time Stories, oh god dang it, son of a bitch, there was a Western horror anthology that had James Earl Jones and Brad Dourif in it, where they were sitting around a campsite, they were sharing scary stories back and forth. For the life of me, I can't remember the title of it. I just thought of it, but it harkens back to things like that, and I really, really enjoyed those. I dug, anthology.
Grim Prairie Tales,
that was it.
Yeah.
And I really
something prairie. I couldn't remember the rest.
And I really, really enjoy anthology. So that's why I kind of got some nostalgic love from this. So if you dig those, I think VHS delivers. But that was just my takeaway. I can get past the found footage things because it's a style of filmmaking.
Yeah, that's just not it's just not a style I particularly care for, because again, I think that the problem with Blair Witch was okay because they used the shaky cam. They didn't rely on the shaky cam. Whereas the things that followed, the other stuff that kind of came out afterwards, it seemed that found footage was a reliance on the fact that it was shaky cam. Feel just made me sick, like because the motion sickness. Yeah, God damn, man. And who the fuck is going to have their cell phone out recording the whole damn time?
Yeah, it's true. Oh shit! ABCs of Death.
Yeah.
ABCs of Death 1 and 2. That just popped in there.
Yeah. So there were a fair few these past 10 years.
There were a handful, but I mean that's a lot of time for a lot of movies to come out.
Well, sure, but anthologies are a very specific type of thing. You got to think of how difficult it is to put anthologies together. Eugene, let's try this. 1, 2. I think it got worse.
3.
Holy fuck!
Wow,
me, it got worse.
That's even worse, dude. He's lagging up so hard.
Are you in a hostel? Is somebody about to eat your leg?
I reset everything, so no.
He's answering a question from a half hour ago. What movie?
Eugene. Oh, and you keep freezing. I'm sorry, dude.
You said hostile.
All right. Well, we gotta keep the show going. So,
yeah, I may just have to pop out of this one. I'm sorry, with my internet's not holding up.
I don't know what. That's crazy. I'm so sorry,
dude. 4 hours later.
Damn. Okay. Yeah, I think he might be having difficulties. Anyways, we'll go along this. So what Eugene was going to bring up is that another hallmark that was good about VHS that I really, really liked was that VHS keeps it simple. And it's a good rule of thumb, especially in horror filmmaking. Don't try to overcomplicate. Streamline your process, just like with Christine we talked about earlier. And film like that, just take out what is not necessary. Just try to keep it simple. And VHS does that. They're very straightforward. There's nothing complicated about these things. The focus is on your classic horror storytelling, the tropes that are there, the unique element that is found footage, but so we can to kind of deliver scares like that. But very cool, scary stories, and I like these ones.
That's one thing where I will give VHS 2 some credit, is the fact that it wasn't a reliance on the shaky cam. That was part of the story narrative. But you could have taken the shaky cam out of it, and the stories would have still been scary. Yeah. So it wasn't a reliance to the narrative of the story. They didn't have to. Let's create some atmosphere, so let's shake the camera up. No, we're going to create the atmosphere. And if the camera happens to shake at a certain part, that's cool. It'll add to the atmosphere we're already creating.
Agreed. And I like that too. In particular effect, I really, really enjoyed Safe Haven. I thought that was really, really cool. I thought Safe Haven was the best entry in all of VHS 2. I thought it was the strongest. It had the best acting and some of the best effects.
Which one was that one? I can't remember. I saw it. I saw these.
It's when the girl
aliens.
No, the girl. No, that's the last one. That was the slumber party alien abduction.
The one that has fucking alien in the title.
Yeah, the one that actually has alien. Yeah, this one was about when the girl gets kidnapped gets grabbed by the people in the surgical attire.
Oh, right. Yeah.
They had the scene with the girl. They that had the girl with her womb cut out and everything, and it's just the Safe Haven was gnarly. And I really, I liked it because it had that great kind of reality to it. And I thought it was done well. The acting was solid. The editing was solid. I think that Tahanto and Evans did very, very well in directing that. But that just goes to show they kept it simple. They relied on what was scary. They didn't overcomplicate things. It was straightforward from point A to point. It was formulaic, but it didn't feel formulaic. And I think because the found footage kind of takes away from it. It's like, oh, this is such formulaic filmmaking. Found footage kind of lends itself. It's like if you found footage, maybe it's not so formulaic. You can kind of hide the formulaic filmmaking underneath the found footage.
Well, again, that's one of that's the reason why I wanted to give them the credit due there is they didn't rely on it. They used it properly.
Yeah.
It's just I have such a sour taste in my mouth for found footage because it is done wrong more often than done right.
All right, let's see what we got going on in here. So sarcasm. Actually, let's go back up a little bit more. So Jinju says, Tony Regime says, my favorite found footage is the McPherson tapes incident in Lake County. I do remember seeing that. I only saw it once, and I remember good things about it. Jinju says, XX was a good horror anthology directed by women. It was. It really, really was. And I believe it's still available on Netflix.
I'd check it out. I haven't seen that one. I don't.
Yes, all female directed. So female-centric horror. It's really cool. Sarcasm says, Blair Witch was great because the quiet marketing. There hasn't ever really been a good found footage horror film.
I do agree that Blair Witch was good because of the marketing. The way that they put that out there is like, hey, look, no, it wasn't. It was billed as, hey, we actually found this, right? Their marketing scheme was perfect. This is, these kids went out and got lost, and this is what we found, and this is the footage as it was shot on their camcorder and all that stuff. Yeah. Like I said, great marketing campaign on that one.
Agreed. And the George says, as a huge advocate for found footage films, I can agree wholeheartedly that it is rarely done correctly. Most people learned one thing from Blair Witch, and it was the wrong one. Shaking cam is not scary.
It shouldn't be, though, right? Shaking cam shouldn't be what makes your film scary.
It should merely be an effect of what the characters are going through.
It should be a design element. Yeah, right.
Yes, exactly. Design element. NA says, by the time Eugene gets done, Fast and Furious 10 will be available for rent. Let's see. Mad Mark says, in 2012, there was also Scary or Die and Barrio Tales. They are far from good anthologies. Oh. This is true. That's why we couldn't remember them.
Yeah.
And the George says, there's a technical skill and talent required to frame shots and pace scenes while seeming natural. You can't just film with a low-res cam and shake it a bit and expect people to pee their pants. Right. Very true.
Especially when you start to notice the tropes and you notice that, all right, cool, there's about to be some sort of scary monster thing that jumps out at me here any second now, and then you can start counting down the beats. Like, what was that one anthology that happened or not anthology, it was the found footage film that happened in the asylum or the hospital. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Fuck, I can't remember the name of it. But that one, you could almost count the beats and then be right spot on for when there was going to be something.
You're talking. Oh, wait. Are you talking about? No. It was an anthology film?
No. It was a found footage film.
Oh, found footage film that took place in a hospital?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord, I don't remember.
Like I said, we talked about Grave Encounter. I think, Grave Encounter.
Grave Encounters. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, in the asylum, in the abandoned asylum.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep. But that one, you could almost count the beats. Like, all right, shaky cam, 1, 2, scary thing. It's fucking rinse, repeat.
Especially when you get used to the music and the way it's edited in.
Yep.
That the music begins to drop, just to get your ears attenuated to the big noise that's coming in order to get the jolt out of you. Right. Something coming at the screen. It just gets a little unnecessary at times. So over reliance on jump scares. Yeah.
The Nun, over reliance on jump scares.
Very true.
All right, so with VHS, I want to know, what's your favorite segment? Let us know at theweekinhorror.net, or comment sections, or shoot us an email, theweekinhorror@gmail.com.
We are so off on this episode.
It's because he's still answering questions that we asked an hour ago. I can't believe I got that line past you.
I didn't even hear it.
When I said that he was answering questions from a half hour ago.
What is it? Oh, dude.
Tom Cruise said it.
It's in there somewhere.
Tom Cruise said it too, talking about Dustin Hoffman. That right there didn't tell you what it is.
Rain Man.
Yeah. That scene was great. Am I taking advantage of you? Yeah. Shut up. He's answering questions that were asked a half hour ago. That was funny.
All right.
What do we got next?
All right, it's my turn. Yeah, I guess we're gonna try and get through this. Yeah, I want to give a special thanks to everybody in the live chat for dealing with this particular episode today. We're so sorry. Things are a little bit on the insane side. So, but thank you for being here. We do appreciate it. It will pay off in the end. I promise. There will be a happy ending. This was a bit. We did this on purpose. Eugene really has a hot date, so we had to invent a reason why that he couldn't be here. And then, gosh, JL, you just gotta. No, I own it. I lean into it. I lean into the car wreck.
That's why you have a broken neck. All right. Speaking of car wrecks.
Okay, this is one that I've been looking forward to talking about. So this particular film, our third one for the night, released July 14th, 1978. We're going to talk about The Swarm. Mm-hmm. So some of these names may surprise you. So directed by legendary director Irwin Allen. Screenplay by Sterling Silliphant. Starring, I shit you not, Michael Caine, Catherine Ross, Richard Widmark, Richard Chamberlain, Olivia de Havilland, Ben Johnson, Lee Grant, Jose Ferrer, Patty Duke, Slim Pickens, Bradford Dillman, Fred McMurray, and Henry Fonda. And of course, the cast of this one. Oh, the for those who haven't seen this, is a late 70s film, disaster film. Yep. And this bad boy is basically about a small Texas town that is attacked by a giant swarm of killer bees. And I had to look into it. In the early 70s, the killer bees or Africanized honeybees were, there was fear that they were coming up from Mexico and that these swarms were going to make it into Texas. This was about the time that this took place. And so Irwin Allen, director of The Poseidon Adventure and The Towering Inferno, two epically classic and legendary films, directed The Swarm, which took this cast and pitted them against a swarm of giant killer bees, and unfortunately delivered what is arguably considered the worst film ever made.
However, it does not contain the worst scene with bees ever made, though. That was much later with our favorite German expressionist.
Not the worst bee scene, but yes, absolutely wild. And that is a big thing that I wanted to talk about on this one. So
this movie was, it tried to be The Birds so bad.
I can get that feeling. Did. Yeah, I absolutely get that feeling. Yeah.
I think that's his biggest shortcoming or his biggest failure was the fact that it didn't want to exist as its own. Almost to. I'm surprised it didn't end with the bees, hovering in the house at the house, and everybody walks in and get in the car and they drive off all safe style. You know what I mean? Because they had the diner scene, they had the public square scene. It's just like, come on, all the lead needed was to, a little. Oh, it's my little beehive, my beehive keeping. You know what I mean? Oh, it's my bees. It's just,
it's wild.
So bad. Yeah, I do like the fact that they were not afraid to murder kids though.
They weren't. Allen went that direction. But then again, Irwin Allen was considered the master of disaster. Disaster films were his forte. The Poseidon Adventure, which was absolutely amazing. And The Towering Inferno. The idea of that was these were incredible films. But then all of a sudden, and I think there were two others. There was Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, which was another one that he directed as well. And I think also had Michael Caine in the leading role, and many episodes of TV shows. So he was big on disaster films.
I don't know how he and Michael Caine failed so badly at this. Yes, I do, because it was trying to be The Birds.
So you think the focus, because that's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so this film is listed up. I think the guy who invented the Razzies, the Golden Razzies. Let me see, who was I remember his name. Golden Raspberry Award founder John J.B. Wilson. In his book, he lists The Swarm as one of the worst enjoyable films of all time. arguably, in the top 100, I believe it was up there towards the top. And what I wanted to break down was, I get it. If a film is going to be this bad, it's either going to be in your effects, or it's going to be in your acting, it's going to be in your writing, it's going to be in the direction,
it's going to be easy to find. But this one, I mean, the bee effects were fine. They used live bees.
Yep.
Even the swarm didn't look bad. It didn't look real cartoony. It looked decent. The acting, hell, we're talking about fucking Michael Caine.
Not just Michael Caine. I mean, just names like Michael Caine, Henry Fonda, Richard Widmark, Olivia de Havilland.
Yeah.
Fucking the budget. I mean, the budget on this thing at the time, I think, what was it? The budget on this adjusted budget was $21 million, which is effectively it was like $11.5 million in the late 1970s, which is a ridiculous amount of money for the late 1970s.
$20 million to make a movie right now.
Right. And
I'd take $11 million to make a movie right now. I think you could do a better job in this one.
And then adjusted, this thing only made like 7.7.
Yeah, it was a huge flop.
Okay, like Sarcasm just said right here. I really love the Poseidon movies. They had tension down to a science. The Swarm just lacked that.
Maybe it's because, I mean, I don't know. I don't really remember the fear of the bees growing up. People talked about, hey, there could be potential for Africanized bees, but it wasn't like, here's the thing. Africanized honeybees will attack you if you encroach upon their space. If you don't, they're not going to mess with you. They're going to leave you alone. So it's just not, I don't know, it's just not as sinister as this movie tried to make them out to be. Like they were on the hunt to kill people.
Okay, so let's compare. I mean, look at Erwin Allen's success on that. So the Poseidon Adventure. That's terrifying. Out at sea, the boat.
Right.
I get that.
Upside down. Yeah.
Upside down. Yeah, that's terrifying. Because you sink in the ocean, you're fucked. Okay, so I get that. Towering inferno, buildings on fire, trapped.
Yep.
I think these are things that viscerally get behind us: drowning and burning to death, or falling to death.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you think about the Poseidon Adventure, you're talking about a capsized ship that's sinking. So even if you manage to get out of the ship, you're still at sea.
That's only one problem of the many problems you have.
Exactly. And the same thing with a burning building is the fact that most buildings burn up, not down. You know what I mean? So if the fire starts below you, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah.
So getting away from the fire is the first hurdle. Now you've got, this however many story high rise, you got to figure out how you're going to parachute off of without a parachute.
And so that may have been it, and why the tension so much wasn't there, because a giant swarm of bees. Maybe bees just they weren't the big giant national headline. Maybe you heard about them and said, "Oh, killer bees," and people are calling them killer bees because they're super, super aggressive. But in that respect, unlike Sarcasm, the Final Timer. Okay. There is there is an automatic sense of urgency with the Poseidon Adventure, with the Towering Inferno. You have to get out before the building is consumed. You have to get out before the boat completely capsizes and takes you down with it.
Yep.
There's a sense of urgency here. With the Swarm, because they're just bees. They're mean bees. They kill people. They kill people and shit, but just hide. Yeah. There's places bees can't get to. So just hide there. Or just, get in a car and drive away. The reason birds was scary is because birds are everywhere. And birds are not like bees where they're slow. Birds can fly and they'll be legit, and they're scary. They can peck the shit out of you. They can attack you in flocks. And it's just, as we saw in the movie. Which is why, and to be honest, that really came off as more eerie than really scary.
The birds,
which is why I like that Hitchcock focused more on Tippy's performance and the character story that was going on. And the birds was secondary to it. Yeah, exactly. The birds was secondary to it. So it comes down to it. The focus of the film is probably wrong, and the threat is really not that extreme.
Yeah, that's the problem, is there's no real, I feel like I can I don't know about run, but I can out maneuver a swarm of bees. Especially if I got somebody running down the freaking street. Oh, the bees are coming. The bees are coming. All right, cool. I'll just gingerly walk myself inside and close the door.
Oh, let's see. It was Tony Regime says the Swarm had to follow 2 made-for-TV films about killer bees. Killer Bees, 1974, and Savage Bees, 1976.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe people heard about the Swarm and found out that it was bees and just automatically thought it was going to be some sort of like, excuse the pun, but B-rate film.
You
know, even though it had the names in it, I just don't get it. You know what would be good? The bees versus the birds.
That's something for the asylum. That is absolutely something for the asylum. Definitely. Well, as much as it should have worked. Killer bees and the threat of them, although they're not really so much a threat anymore. We pretty much got them handled. But at the time, it was kind of scary. But with the level of these all-stars, there was some the performances weren't fantastic. Obviously, not the caliber of what we're accustomed to. If you go back and watch this movie, some of these are legendary actors, and you just kind of like, it didn't feel like it felt. Okay, agree with me or not. It felt like there was 2 shades above phoning it in. We're going to give a level of professionalism to this, but we're not going above and beyond.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, everybody looked and said, dude, it's a fucking B movie. That one, I mean, seriously, like bees. It's a movie about, we're afraid of some fucking bees, guys.
It's a B movie. That's
exactly.
fucking amazing.
It's pretty funny how that works. Just continues to work. Continue the joke.
Continue the joke. Let's see. And the George says, I think insect spider horror movies are just tricky because they can give off a happening vibe. If the setup is done wrong, it can seem silly if not handled carefully.
Yes, and it's kind of funny. I'll let you do the CTA, but I think that would have been a great way to segue into the next film we're talking about.
Absolutely. We'll agree with that. I agree with that. We can do that. Oh, man. So the CTA on this one. We talked about disaster horror films, and there are many, many out there. Some were mentioned in the side chat there. But if you have, Brian Red says Johnny O is unbelievable right now. But if you have a favorite disaster horror film, we'd like to know what it is, and let us know in the live chat or in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com. All right, so we got one more film. Man, we're kind of trucking in this. We're trucking in this episode.
We do have one more film, and we're talking when we talked about if it's not handled correctly, it can come off as goofy. This one handled correctly and came off goofy because it was supposed to. Let's see here. What was this? This was what, 2002 film? Eight-legged freaks.
What was this? July 17th? Yeah.
Yeah. Eight-Legged Freaks was, starring David Arquette, Kari Warher, Scott Terra, and Scarlett Johansson. Very early Scarlett Johansson film, directed by Ellery.
Don't forget Dougie Doug, man.
Oh yeah, of course, Dougie Doug.
Dougie Doug was a staple.
He was, and Dougie Doug is part of what makes this movie really cool. What makes it funny. It's hard to be the comedic relief in a funny movie.
This is true,
but he does it very well. Elroy, was it Elkeem? That's who directed this movie. You know, who cares? Whatever. But as we all know, this is a mining town that gets overrun by giant arachnids as they get covered in some sort of radioactive material.
It's like toxic waste or something
like that.
Toxic waste infected or toxic waste spiders that turn giant and and have voices.
But you know what? It made more sense than the screaming anaconda.
This is true. The anaconda that can scream, that's not so good. And what's funny is the anaconda in Anaconda was voiced by Frank Welker. Frank Welker was the voice of one of these spiders in this film. I can't remember which one he did. I think it were various. Yeah, various spiders. It was Rob Paulson, Frank Welker, and Kevin Michael Richardson. Kevin Michael Richardson being one of my favorites. But yeah, Eight-Legged Freaks. Holy shit. So we haven't really gotten to talk about spiders. You know, like a whole bunch.
Yeah, we haven't done arachnophobia on this one yet.
We have not. So, and we have some people who in our army who are fans of us who really, really hate spiders. They're really scared of them. And so
I've never understood arachnophobia, the fear of spiders. Is a thing like this big. Now that gigantic fucking bird tarantula, that big motherfucker is as big as my hand.
Yeah, the Goliath bird eater.
Fuck me. Okay, that coming down the street, like, yeah, okay, I get it. But I mean,
or like the Brazilian wandering spider is a big one as well. Giant orb weavers, Sydney funnel webs can get pretty big.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. They're big, but come on. I mean, how often do we run into those spiders?
Not terribly often. We don't live in Australia for one.
Yeah, so. That's a good point. But
and there's only two here. There's literally only two spiders here where we live that are dangerous. That's the brown recluse and the black widow. Right. And the black widow is easily recognizable. So, and you're like, black widow, and you can get away. You can either kill it or get rid of it. And of course, the brown recluse, a shot of you get bit, a quick shot, and it's taken care of. So not even really worried there.
Yeah, I was actually reading a story or a news report. I forget. It was some spider guy, some super intelligent spider person, said that that spider bites are not as common as we think. The majority of people who complain about spider bites really are talking about infected hair follicles.
Huh.
I thought that was. He says, yeah, the idea that, spiders do crawl on you at night from time to time, but that whole thing about, the thing that what was that weird one that says that you swallow so many spiders?
You swallow so many spiders, they crawl in your mouth.
Bullshit. It says spiders do have a sense of survival. They're not going to, hey, there's a bull that's crawling in my mouth. Hey, buddy, oh my God, I'm dead. But yes, he says that it's highly. The most people who get bit by spiders are people who put on shoes that they haven't, dusted out, that they live in the garage or whatnot.
Yeah, definitely. That's one thing we actually had to deal with that in our garage here at the house, is that because the house has been sitting for a while. Yeah, we're up in the middle of nowhere, and brown recluses are a thing, but they're not so extreme as long as you keep the floor pretty much clear. And you don't put stuff in dark areas because they like dark places. But there was a small black widow nest that had been set up, and we found that because just a bunch of them. You can clear that out pretty quick. Strike the Legend says if spiders get toxic waste on them, they will die from the toxins of the toxic waste.
I mean,
this is true.
There you go.
Unless it's a movie like this. But the one thing I wanted to jive, and you actually kind of touched on it, because spiders sometimes will crawl on you in the night. Someone out there is going to hear that and just be like, fuck you. And they're just going to they're going to unsub from the show. But it's true. Okay. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what genre it's in. Spiders make for fantastic horror. And I don't think I've ever seen a spider movie that's failed in that respect. Eight-Legged Freaks, it's a horror comedy. It's not meant, it's literally in the vein of Critters or Gremlins. It's not meant to be some take it serious. These are super fucking serious. They're giant mutant spiders. I mean, come on.
That laugh and giggle, and that's great.
Yes, that laugh, that understand humor, which is weird.
Yeah.
then you have Big Ass Spider by directed by Mike Mendez, which arguably has one of the best fucking intros I've ever seen in a horror comedy. Literally, the intro to that. Did you watch it?
Not yet.
No. Big Ass Spider.
Oh no, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, you got to watch at least the intro to that because it's absolutely fucking brilliant.
I need to check it
out. And then, but then Arachnophobia, but then Kingdom of the Spiders. But Kingdom of the Spiders was a bit different. That it wasn't a comedy. That was a legit straight up horror film where spiders were that was in the vein of the eco horrors that were coming along, like frogs and shit like that.
Well, so take a look at King Kong, or King Kong, right? So there's that scene with all the bugs. There's giant spiders in there. And then you've got The Mist with the scene where they go to the
where they go across the pharmacy. That's right.
That's fucking hell. That was just gross. But
spiders with faces that scream at you and have acid webbing.
Yeah.
And then lay eggs at you and shit. It's fucked up.
Yeah, let's take something that people are already batshit afraid of and make it worse.
Make it far worse. But I dig that, even in a comedy, because I dug Arachnophobia. Arachnophobia is I had a kind of a fear of spiders when I was younger because they were freaky, 8 legs, so many eyes, and they crawl on you in the night. I didn't like them. I'm cool with them now. As a matter of fact, in the room that I'm in, I have a jumping spider that
one of those black
yeah, that lives up there by the ceiling. He's tucked away somewhere, but every occasion I'll look up and he'll be up there.
He's up there.
As long as he stays up there by the ceiling, he's fine. He comes down here into my territory, we're going to have problems, and I'm probably going to.
He might just be coming to give you a high five.
I'm
serious. We had one. It was a one of the.
Now I'm looking for him and shit.
Yeah.
Where'd he go?
We had one of the brown furry ones on one of our outdoor chairs, and when you would approach him, he would lift his paw. He would lift up his leg, and then you would high five him.
Wow.
Boop it, and he would put it down and crawl off. And he came back to do it repeatedly.
Oh, look at that. Strike the Lid said, you swallow more than one spider at least every night.
That's not true.
That's not true. Don't tell people that. Charlie Welch says, that little spider thing with the baby's face that came out of the fortune cookie and it.
That was, it was a little jarring, to say the least.
Tony Regime says the spiders in the old Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan films were scary.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you can have just like a regular old action film. Oh, and all of a sudden spiders come out to kill people. Like, wait a minute, it's so scary. All of a sudden, people just don't like spiders, and spiders generally tend to work.
Agreed. And if whether for whatever reasons, either it's the idea that they could be anywhere, that they're so small you don't see them coming, they can crawl on you in their sleep, they could bite you in your sleep. Right. I mean, it's rare, it's super rare. But if you happen to, one happens to be in your covers, you happen to roll on top of it, things happen.
Yeah,
or they're in your boots or in your drawers or like this, just because they like nice, quiet, warm places that are dark to hide. The only thing I don't
action, yeah.
The only thing I don't like is because I'm out here. So the other day I was out there while I was out with the dogs in the backyard. So I'm out, let the dogs out, and I'm walking around. And I fucking went around. I heard a noise. And I was like, what the fuck is that? I have a big backyard. And I go around the side of the house to go check it out. And I walked right through a fucking spider web that I didn't see that was there.
No.
So, and I was like, of course, my hair is short. So it was like all over my head. And I'm like, fuck me running. So, yeah.
Oh, gee. You know what? Remind me after the show. I'm going to show you a picture of my truck. I'm going to just tell you the story really quick. So I went to go play. This is back when I lived closer to the bar that I often frequented. But I went to go play poker at a buddy's bar, right? Go check it out, play poker. And he was a good buddy of mine. And I had noticed that there were some spider webs. This was late spring, but there were a lot of spider webs on the truck. I just kind of, whatever, brushed them off. No big deal. Didn't think anything of it. Drive, go play poker. My buddy gets drunk, says, hey, I need a ride home, and he lives right down the corner. Cool. So I go give him a ride. He and his wife jump in the truck to give him a ride home. And then all of a sudden I hear her in the back say, Chris, there's a couple of spiders next to you. And I look over, and a nest must have just fucking hatched. There were thousands of spiders right next to his face, crawling on his back, up near his head. Thousands. I have pictures of this shit. I didn't say anything when I saw it because I didn't want him to freak the fuck out and jump out of the truck. So we get to where we go. He froze. He just got real quiet. It did not move. He's
the dominant predator.
He's super. Yeah, his head kind of went down a little bit. He started staring at the dash. And the second I stopped at his house, he was out of that fucking truck.
That's okay.
Flash in a pan. Boom, he was gone.
Similar story.
There was a little smoke from where he was sitting. How fast he got out of there.
Similar story as a Boy Scout had to deal with these things, and it wasn't like that. But they were daddy long legs, and they were the really, really big ones. They were the big ones that had like the spotted legs.
Yeah.
And out at the campsites that we would go to, out at Possum Kingdom Lake or down outside of Athens, Texas, we would go down there, and these things would nest, and they would create these giant balls where they would all just kind of hang together, and then you'd find them in areas like in the latrine, where you go into the bathroom. So you'd find them like hanging in places like that. And then of course you touch them, they go, wow, daddy long legs everywhere. It's not scary now. But when you were my age at the time, when you were 13 freaking years old, and then there's one of these things in your tent, or when your asshole bunkmates grab one and then throw it on you in your sleep. And then all of a sudden you wake up and they're like, all over the place. that's probably why I was afraid of them for a while.
Yeah. I gotta find these pictures because
Strike the Ledge says when you hit the spider web, the spider was like, "Ha, gotcha."
But back to this movie.
Wow. Okay, wait, hell, Sir Captain says I'm cool with spiders, but worms freak me the hell out. Tremors, Slither, even Doom, they just make me cringe. Well, you didn't mention Night of the Creeps, which is like this, but you also didn't mention Squirm, which had the man worm. That was about carnivorous worms that like were eating people. There's this epic scene when the people are in the house and they're trying to like climb using like the rafters to climb out of the house, and the worms are like a giant pit underneath them. It's like if they were to fall, they'd fall into a sea of worms. And the worms are fucking jumping into the air trying to get them like, this shit is fucking great. And then this one guy like gets him in his head and he turns into a fucking worm man. He's like, and he's like, trying to bite people. It's so fucking amazing.
Yeah. The best way to watch that is the whatchamacallit, the Mystery Science Theater 3000 version.
MST3K, absolutely. Yeah. Grave Paradise joined. Oh, good to see you, Grave Paradise. Let's see, I thought I saw somebody else. And Tani A. So, yes, Squirm was epic. Tani A, one of our amazing patrons. Thank you so much for popping in. So, yes, but you, Johnny, you were saying back to the movie.
Yeah, this movie was, it was stupid, but it was supposed to be, which is why it worked.
Yes.
It didn't try to be something super serious. It knew that it was, it had David Arquette as a main fucking character. I mean, come on.
We know where David Arquette is eventually going to go. The guy is obviously, he's not crazy, but he's definitely an off-kilter kind of personality. Right. And he eventually gets there in the movie. He starts out straight, even keel, this is what it is like that. But by the time the giant mutant spiders are attacking the mall and we're in the final standoff,
yeah.
In the end, when the minute that's going out, David Arquette can be his lovable self when he's just, just running around shit.
Right.
And being crazy. And
but he makes it work. He makes it work in context of the character, which is, like I said, I mean, that's awesome. The fact that he knows where he's at, he knows where his space is in this movie,
and it works together because you've got him.
It does.
And then of course a cast of kooky characters. I know that Tom Noonan, and people remember Tom Noonan as he was the bad guy from Last Action Hero. It was Last Action Hero. He was the crazy guy with the axe in Last Action Hero. Tall, lanky dude, been a legendary character actor, been around for a long time. But he was in it. Dougie Doug is obviously a character. David Arquette is a character, and a bunch of Tom. Let's see, who was out. A number of probably names probably wouldn't recognize, but if you saw them, you'd probably know them. But just that you pile it in there, and I think Carrie Wurr was probably the straightest character. I mean, like literally this,
She was the Abbott to the Abbott and Costello. Yeah.
Yes.
Whereas David Arquette was a Costello, but a muted Costello, but a Costello nonetheless.
Still a lot of fun, and definitely better because it, unlike a movie like Anaconda, it did not take itself seriously. So it's definitely in there with like Leprechaun, with Critters, with Gremlins, where the movie has its moments and really good ones. Like, of course, when the spider's like up behind the chair, the guy's sitting in the chair and the spider's like, oh, you see the legs coming out behind it. Yeah, everybody's worst nightmare and shit. But yeah, it's an enjoyable film. It's just fun. It's goofy, silly fun with a few elements because, spiders are fucking scary to a lot of people.
Right.
For a second, Prime Red says, for a second, I thought you were going to talk about the real David Arquette going psycho is the relative future. I don't think he's going to go psycho. He's just a goofy guy.
He's a goofy guy. I mean, I think he gets it out in film. So, he doesn't have to worry about losing his mind. He never had it to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, he married Courtney Cox. Oh! Hey. Strike the Legend says, have you heard of the Goliath bird eater? Yes. Johnny mentioned that one a little bit earlier. Let's talk about the Goliath bird eater. And then the other spiders using this were jumping spiders, orb weavers, black widows, tarantulas, trapdoor spiders, Australian funnel web spiders, and spitting spiders. So we're all using this one. So, of course, to giant effect with various voices of screaming and laughter and, understanding complex human emotion and humor. I don't fucking understand.
But that's what makes them fun, right? Because they were personified. which makes it fun.
Yep. Tony Receive says, Week in Horror. What was the weird horror film based on Red Riding Hood that had that epic scene with the spiders hatching and crawling over everyone? I did see that. And yeah, I saw that you found it before we could answer it. It was The Company of Wolves. Yeah. That was one that had the freaky cover on it with the wolf's, the snout, snout coming out of the person's mouth.
Covers. Yeah, the mouth. Yeah.
Yep. Freaky stuff. All right.
I'm going to be upset if I don't have these photos.
So that kind of brings us to our CTA on that. I'm kind of curious. Oh, that's you, Johnny. I'm overstepping.
It is. I know you're fine because I'm looking for this.
You're looking for something. Okay, I can ask the audience. There was rumor, some time ago because this movie came out in 2003 or 2002. 2002. There was rumor in 2003, and I think in 2005 that there might have been a sequel to this. That there was a script floating around. And what I wanted to ask the audience, that despite its goofy silliness, sometimes goofy silliness is fun. Does this movie deserve a sequel? Could we see? I would say a sequel, not a remake, not a reboot or anything of that nature, but like a direct sequel to the first film. Does this movie deserve one, or should it remain like Arachnophobia, Big Ass Spider, where we don't need sequels, just the standalone film when we're done? Definitely let us know in the live chat, in the comments below, or hit us up at weekinhorror@gmail.com.
Absolutely. I think it does not need a sequel. I just don't see where we could go with the story. Yeah. The story is over. It's done.
Yeah. Spiders are destroyed. They all blew up in the gold mine. We're done.
Yes, I found it.
Uh-oh. Are you sharing something? Or
I'm going to share this with you on Discord.
Oh, okay.
And and this picture doesn't even really do it justice.
Now showing scary things from our lives.
Oh, Jesus damn it.
Well, while he's futzing with that, we do have a trivia question because we are at that time when it's time to give these people what they love.
Yes, free stuff.
Free shit. Now, this is an important one. So I hope we got 15 people in the audience right now. Thank you all for joining us. This is going to be a kind of an important trivia question because we're giving away something special. This is while the limited edition shirt number 3 is still up on the Teespring shop for a limited time. You can check it out there at teespring.com/weekinhorror. We're giving away something a little bit new. In celebration of the new Rack Focus event, we will be giving away an autographed poster for Nail Gun. Now, if you would like to see what the poster looks like, I will show it to you now. Because I have it pulled up on my screen. At least I fucking did. Hang on. God damn it. I'm such a fucking moron.
See, that's why we did this during the green room session.
Well, this is one for the goddamn books.
Oh, it's fine. Everybody loves this shit.
Okay, there we go. So, sorry about that. And this is what the poster looks like. So, and screen share. Down. Boom. Share.
Very nice.
So that was the release poster for Nail Gun. And that one will be autographed at the we're going to get together at the premiere, at the little premiere at the Rack Focus event, and everybody is going to autograph the poster for Nail Gun, and the winner of tonight's trivia gets that poster.
Yep.
So this is going to be a little bit longer to get to you, whoever the winner might be, maybe a little bit longer to get to you just because we have to wait until the 18th in order to get everybody to, because that's where we're all going to be together in order to autograph this thing. So we're going to autograph this poster. We're going to do it up nice and neat, and we're going to ship it off to whoever is the winner of tonight's trivia contest. So this question is expected. This is an awesome prize. The question's a little bit on the difficult side. So get those Google fingers ready, because use your Google foo.
Yes.
All right, because if anybody knows this outright, they're just going to know the answer. So use that Google foo. Johnny, take it away.
All right. I was too busy watching you. Here we are.
Oh, you got fucked up with those spiders. Oh, no.
That's after he got out and took some with him.
No. Okay.
All right. So here's your trivia question. VHS2 segment director Adam Wingard got his start as a movement member of what subgenre of independent filmmaking? VHS2 segment director Adam Weingard got his start as a movement member of what subgenre of independent film making? And you're off.
Now this is a bit of a tough one, so you can look into it and you should be able to find it. But Chris Durham Music Channel says, I already said it. The answer to the trivia question is Lionel Barrymore.
Yes, Lionel Barrymore, Drew Barrymore's great-grandfather.
Great-grandfather, yep.
Yeah. What movie was he famously in?
That escapes me.
No, you know this one. Come on now.
If it's locked in there, I honestly don't. I have to look it up.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas.
Miracle on 34th Street? Or A Christmas... Or, are you talking about... Oh, you're talking about... What's his name?
Jimmy Stewart.
Jimmy Stewart?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Fucking... What the shit? We watch it every year at Christmas.
Yeah, we do.
Clarence, the fucking angel. You know which one I'm talking. I know what the fucking movie is.
I'm just waiting for you to say it.
Fuck off. But hang on. A Christmas Carol? No. A Chris.
Mumblecore says Sarcasm. Sarcasm is correct.
Holy shit. Sarcasm got it. And saved me.
It's a Wonderful Life.
It's a Wonderful Life. Fucking A, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yep.
God damn it.
Dare not ask you what the character name was.
Don't. Just don't. This episode's already been an embarrassment as it was. All right, let me see here. Dang. So so I'm going back to it. Bah.
Sarcasm.
God, this could be a lot of fucking Mumblecore. Yes, Sarcasm, you are correct. It was the Mumblecore movement. And any directors who were in Mumblecore who specialized in horror films, often it was called Mumblegore.
Yep.
Because filmmakers are fucking inventive when it comes to naming shit. Anyway, but yes, it was Mumblecore was the independent filmmaking movement that Adam Wingard got his start in, and now he was directing things like Godzilla vs. Kong and a number of other huge movies that are coming along, like the Thundercats film that's being made. Adam Wingard is directing that. So very, very cool stuff coming up for him, but that is where he got his start. Congratulations, Sarcasm. Let me write you down, make sure I got that. Man, Sarcasm's been eating it up. Let me see. He did just say Sarcasm, but I want to see, because there were a lot of people who claimed that they were going to take this. Awesome, cool. Yes, haha. Sorry. George said, sorry, guys, I'm going to win this one. Charlie always says, ooh, that's nice.
I know where that comes from.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice.
So Sarcasm says, yes, the Google Force is with me. And the George says, I had to walk away just as it got asked. I didn't even hear the question. George, that's a bummer.
Gosh.
Well, congratulations to Sarcasm. Way to go. We will get that as soon as we get that autographed and signed up for you. We will get it printed, get it signed at the event, and we will get that sent to you as
about
quickly
a week and a half away for the event.
Yeah, today's the 7th. It's on the 18th. So just
2 Sundays.
So in a few weeks, we will get that out to you as quick as we can. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Hey, share that nightmare fuel with everybody.
Oh, share the nightmare fuel?
Yeah.
All right, let me see here real quick. So Johnny sent me this.
Grave Paradise says dumbass naming. Yeah, Mumblecore. Oh, and the George says, what was the question? The question was VHS 2 segment director Adam Weingard got his start as a movement member of what subgenre of independent filmmaking? Yeah, you saw those spitters.
Yeah, that's freaky. Strikeland says, Pupper's got to be the first priority. That's true. All right. Well, that is about it. I think that without Eugene here, I'm like lost, man. Without 3 of us, there's just 2 of us. I'm like lost. I keep expecting something. I keep expecting to hear his voice.
that's that. Now you know how Eugene and I felt when we had to hold down the fort all by ourselves. There's just 2 of us. Just the 2 of us.
Just the two. No,
I knew you were going to do it. I knew you were going to do it.
Sir Cat says, if it were just a tea or a mug, I would happily pass it on. But I'm really going to treasure the, I'm going to say poster because that's not what he said.
I will really treasure this pister.
And the George said, yes, he did direct the Death Note movie for Netflix. He did. All right. Well, that will bring another episode of Week in Horror to a close. I thank you all so much for listening, and we truly hope that you enjoyed the show or enjoy the future shows because this one wasn't that great. Anyway, join us next week as we discuss The Conjuring, Clown House. Join us next week when we discuss The Conjuring, Clown House, Disturbing Behavior, and Orphan. We would like to send a special shout out to our amazing patrons who have helped us so much to make the show the success it has become. Thank you all. We could not do it without you. Visit us at weekinhorror.net where you can find links to all of our episodes, our bios, our merch store at Teespring, and of course, enter your email for a permanent entry to win a mystery horror shirt every single month, courtesy of $6shirts.com. For more horror entertainment, be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Followers get our daily splatter, a little bit of horror info every day, right to your feed. You never know what new horrors you may discover. Please subscribe to our channel and smash that bell like a zombie head for all the latest updates from the show. We really hope you enjoyed this new live format, and we'd love to get your feedback. So be sure to leave us a comment below, as those interactions really help us with the dreaded algorithm. And lastly, if you truly love what we do here and you would like to and are able to support this production, you can through our Patreon. Our Patreons have enabled us to take this show one step further and actually begin to create content, actual film content. We would not be able to do it without our patron support. And of course, you can help do that too. We have subscriber tiers as low as $1 a month. We have bonus and exclusive content and even horror movies that we send out to our higher tiers. However, if you'd prefer, you can support the show through a simple donation through our PayPal as well. Links to all of this, including our Discord community, where you can find film recommendations, trailers, trivia games, horror watch parties, and even interact with us directly, are all in the description below. And while the country is finally beginning to recover from recent events, we know that things are still extremely tight for most people, and that is okay, because as always, simply commenting, liking, and sharing the show with your friends or the local horror community is the absolute best way that you can help us continue to grow and bring you the best in horror entertainment every single day. We appreciate each and every single one of you for being the greatest audience that a podcast like us could possibly have. I am JL.
I'm Eugene. And I'm Johnny O.
We will see. I knew it was going to happen, but I still didn't expect it.
Yep.
Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you all next week. And I fucked up my line. We'll see you next week. And as always, stay scared. Fucking
actually, if it's we should be doing, like, Eugene should be answering now.
That was a fucking shit show.
You're still live.
I know.
Eugene, see, there he is. He says, I'm Eugene.
Yeah.